A couple of months ago, I made a video where I only used wonder weapons across all of the Treyarch zombie games, and you guys seem to really enjoy that video, so we're back with a part 2. And if there are any other videos you want to see a part 2 of, let me know down in the comments, and whilst you're down there, leave a like to help us out with the algorithm. So I will once again be delving into the Treyarch discography of games, except World at War, as that featured in the first video and it only has 2 wonder weapons to offer, being the ray gun and the wonder waffle, and I just didn't really see the point in revisiting that. And as we're on the topic of other maps and weapons that won't feature, as they were also in the first video, they are Moon and the Zap/Wave Gun, Origins and the Staves, Call of the Dead with the Scavenger, Blood of the Dead and the Blundergat, and finally Forsaken and the Chrysalax. Oh yeah, still no Vanguard, because, well, it's Vanguard. There will also be some rules to lay down before we get into this, and they're pretty simple, but here they are. Firstly, I can't just magic up a wonder weapon and pull one out of thin air, so the opening 10 rounds, anything goes, but once I get myself a wonder weapon, that's it. No more regular guns can be used, and if we don't get a wonder weapon in those 10 rounds, we hit the restart button. And secondly, and also finally, we have one chance, one opportunity. The stakes in a video like this are, well, not existent, so I'm going to add some, being no do-overs. If we get a wonder weapon on round 8 and then die on round 9, well then we're off to the next game, and that's about it for the rules. Pretty much anything else goes. So starting us off today, we have one of the best wonder weapons, in my opinion at least, and that is the baby gun from Shangri-La. And going into this, I was pretty damn confident, which I was right to be. We spawn in and get some points on the board. End of round 3, with a nice chunk of cheddar in my pocket, I made my way over to the box, where I then proceeded to get shafted by getting the ballista knife and the crossbow back to back. But I did get the monkeys, so that's a small dub. So after a full round of trying not to blow myself up with the crossbow, I am back at the box, and 2 spins in we get the ray gun. Ray gun on round 5, which is, something you love to see. But it only gets better at the end of the round. First spin of the box, out pops the 31-79 JGB215. Who the hell names a gun like that? Straight up, just someone headbutt their keyboard or something for that one, Jesus. So end of round 5, both wonder weapons are equipped. Life is good, but that wasn't gonna last. There is a small, just ever so small, some would say tiny chance even, that I fully screw this up. And I just want to preface this by saying it's all entirely the ray gun's fault. The thing sucks, okay? Round 6, I take it down. Bear in mind, it is round 6. I shoot a zombie point blank, it just doesn't die. I'm hurt from the blast, and the zombie then just sucker punches me into the ground. And like I said, ray gun's fault, not mine. I revive, then go and buy quick revive, and start making my way around the map, just looking for my perks and whatnot. Round 8, I'm down in the power room, a napalm zombie spawns, and I take him down, but then another one spawns, so I didn't want to risk blowing him up as he was quite close to me. I didn't have Jug yet, so I ran off. Now in my escape, some zombies spawned in front of me, so I put them down. The only problem is, there's even more zombies now in front of me, but I need to reload my ray gun. That takes 52 years to do so, and I tried to run from my problems, but I end up taking another down. Yet again, completely the ray gun's fault. This time, upon reviving, I actually start making some headway. I get Jug, quick revive, and speed bought, and I'm finally starting to feel pretty good. I then died again on round 11. Now, once again, the ray gun's fault. I'm training a few zombies together and I take out the wave, but one zombie survives, so I shoot him again when he's point blank to me, and it's a round 6 situation all over again. So from here, I just rage quit the game, and I now vow to never use the ray gun ever again because it's awful. Black Ops 2 is up next, and I was torn between Dire Eyes and Buried, to which I chose Buried. Dire Eyes was a good contender for this, as I love the Sliquifire, but after the run I just had in Shangri-La, didn't know if the mental would last another pounding like that, Buried, on the other hand, is the complete opposite, and was almost guaranteed to just dump dopamine into me, so here we are. Buried has quite a few wonder weapons on it, but for me there is only 2 clear-cut winners, being the Paralyzer and the Ray Gun Mark II. The way better ray gun, F the Mark 1. I don't know what you're all thinking. Oh, just get the Paralyzer, build the Resonator, and just camp in the Jug hallway. Well, you're wrong. You see, this is a wonder weapon challenge, not a wonder weapon and OP buildable only challenge. So, no buildables for me. It was also looking like no wonder weapons for me as well. Round after round, the box just basically refused to give me what I want, giving me rocket launchers, shotguns, pistols, basically everything that wasn't a wonder weapon. But on round 7, after what felt like an eternity of suffering, the box finally gives up the goods and hands me the Mark II ray gun. Run and mental saved, and now all I cared about was blasting some zombies, which is exactly what I did. I hung about in the town and got all my perks whilst trying to get the paralyzer out of the box, which I didn't get until round 13, but with the paralyzer now acquired, there was only one thing left to do, and that was pack a punch. I made my way through the mansion and get my free perk, and for once I didn't immediately get mule kick as I end up with stamina up. Round 15, both of my guns were upgraded, and I was feeling pretty good about this run. I mean, who wouldn't with this setup? After heading back to the town, I blitzed the remaining teen rounds, and on round 20, I made my second trip through the mansion, expecting mule kick for my second perk, but it didn't give me it. It finally happened. I got vulture aid, and the mule kick curse has been broken. Now, I'm not gonna lie, the next 10 rounds just went by in a breeze. The ray gun Mark II on lower rounds is by far one of the most unfair weapons, and I love it. Every zombie that comes anywhere near me was dead within about a second, and well, before I knew it, I was cruising my way through the 30s. But then around 34, I made a pretty big mistake. Earlier in the game, I got the time bomb when trying to get the paralyzer, so I was using it as a get out of jail free card. Well, at the beginning of round 34, I went to reset it, only to press the wrong key, sending me back 2 full rounds. Now, I blasted through these rounds, don't get me wrong, but it was still pretty tilting. Also, going forward, every time I went to reset my time bomb, I had to pay so much more attention to the point I'm fairly certain I blew a fuse up in my old noggin. We made it to round 40, and this is where things begin to get tough. The Mark II was still incredible at this round, don't get me wrong. The paralyzer, not so much, but what was making this tough was the lack of ammo. The Mark II might have been able to tear through anything and everything, but it was beginning to run out of ammo at quite an alarming rate. Most rounds leaving me without any ammo before we'd even finished the round, and relying on luck from drops isn't really what you want, but it was all I had. But luck was seemingly on my side, well, for a while at least. From rounds 41 to 45, I was getting those max ammo drops and plenty of them to keep me going, but it was inevitable that my luck was soon to run out, and that became a reality as I closed in on round 50. Round 47, and I start the round with less than a magazine's worth of ammo, and pretty quickly that was gone. I survived for about a minute or so after running out of ammo thanks to the paralyzer, but it wasn't enough to keep me alive. That was when I then decided to hit the rewind button. I turned back in time to the beginning of my round 47 with 37 rounds in the Mark II, and all I was hoping for here was a maxi, and would you believe it, the zombie gods looking out for me as one drops, and I have never been so happy before in my life. We make it through another round, and now we're just 2 rounds away from 50, but I'm now in the exact same position I was at the beginning of that original round 47. Unfortunately for me, things don't pan out quite the same this time around. We've run out of ammo, I get overwhelmed, and before I can even get a chance to hit the rewind button, it's game over. Round 48 on Black Ops 2. To beat round 48, I'd need a hell of a wonder weapon, or maybe 4. So I booted up Der Eisendrache on BO3. In the first version of this challenge, I opted to play Call of the Dead custom map over Der Eisen, but not today. First things first, I needed the bow, so I immediately get myself over to the first dragon, and at the end of round 3, he's fed, and we're off to the next. Now this is where this run kinda becomes a bit of a roller coaster. It takes me a few rounds to get the points to get to the second and third dragon, but round 6, I'm there and I'm feeding the second dragon, and I also end up taking it down this round. I'm training the zombies around the dragon, and 2 zombies block my path, and I whiff every single shot, which leads to me taking it down. Upon reviving, I swap out the RK5 for the M8A7, and then continue to get the dragon fed, and by the end of round 6, I get both of the remaining dragons fed, and the bow is mine. I may have said earlier that there were 4 weapons to help me beat round 48, which is true. There are 4 elemental bows, but I'd only be building 2, being the Void and the Lightning bow, mainly because they're the two I remember how to do, and simply I am just too lazy to look up a guide. During the second step of building the void bow, where I need crawlers, I end up taking another down. I thought all the remaining zombies were ahead of me. Turns out I was very wrong, and there was actually one sneaking up behind me as I was cooking the grenade. Once I throw it, the zombie hits me, which honestly scares the shit out of me, and I end up running straight into that grenade and I go down. The following round, I get the crawlers done, and now all I need was to find out our demon's name, which took me way too long because it turns out that I may have forgotten one of the steps after all. But after about 5 minutes and a perkaholic later, I got the correct symbols down and we had our first arrow ready for the upgrade. On round 12, after feeding the arrow all of the souls, I finally got my hands on the void bow. And no, I'm not going to even attempt to say its actual name. I don't want to make a bigger fool of myself. After acquiring my first upgraded bow, I turned my attention on getting the second, the lightning bow. It was also now that I tried getting the ray gun, which just didn't go well. Throughout the rest of the teen rounds, I continued to work through the lightning bow upgrade, and it wasn't until round 19 where I got it finished, mainly because hitting these bonfires is a pain in the ass and it took me way longer than it should have. End of the round, I grabbed the arrow, and on round 20, I had my second upgraded bow. After getting the lightning bow, I didn't really know what else to do other than try and get the ray gun out of the box, so that's what I did. And I'm going to fully blame what happened next on me trying to get the ray gun out of the box. Round 23, I'm stood at the box. The round starts, but I get control of it. But I then run myself into some trouble. I fire down a fully drawn shot from the lightning bow, but a whole bunch of zombies just ignore the fact they have a lightning bolt shoved up its butt and proceed to send me down. The next few rounds are what I'd imagine it's like watching a train from afar just slowly begin to derail itself, you know? I spent a few rounds hanging around the podiums where the upgraded bows are placed, just switching between them when I wanted. This was a pretty dangerous area to be in, but it was kind of working. Round 27, I switch over to the void bow and head back up to where the death ray is. On round 28, a panzer spawns and just ruins everything. I throw 2 trip mines at him that do absolutely nothing, and he then just proceeds to annihilate me in about 0.4 seconds. Like, before I can even process what's happening, I'm dead. So round 28, not great, but there's still 2 more runs to go. Now I'm not going to beat around the bush with this next run. Everything goes wrong. This run is a mess from the start. I boot up Tag to Toten, thinking this would be a good map for this. There was a couple of reasons as to why I chose this map, the main one being I was also tempted to do this on Alpha Omega due to the Mark II ray guns. But with Tag being the much easier map, that factor persuaded me away from Alpha Omega. The other reason why Tag was appealing to me in the first place was the fact there's like 3 or 4 wonder weapons on the map, including the Wunderwaffe, the Tundra gun, and the Mark II ray gun all being present. The one thing I didn't take into account, however, is just how rare the latter 2 weapons are in the box, and how awful the Wunderwaffe is. Early on into the game, I got all of the stuff I needed to do out of the way, including giving the Hermit the blue rock, getting all the power turned on, and the zip lines up and running. Now all I needed to do was melt the icicle, which was done by the end of round 8, and then the following round I got the Vril device all charged up and also handed that to the Hermit. This was where the real problems began. I had taken it down earlier in the game, so I was a little annoyed at myself. I give the Vril device to the Hermit, where he then gives me the Wunderwaffe for free, only for the game to then refuse to actually give me the gun, which then gets me basically stuck next to the box and a zombie, which obviously downs me, but upon reviving, oh would you look at that, the Wunderwaffe is in my inventory. I swear there are times where the zombie gods are just out to spite me. Yeah, round 11 I died. I got out of the box to start spinning for either the Tundra gun or the Mark II, and in my naive brain I'm thinking I have a Wunderwaffe to protect me, forgetting that this version of the Wunderwaffe is utter garbage, which leads me to my demise. Like I said, this one was a travesty, but at least now we have Cold War to at least save some of my mental. I've said it time and time again, and I'll probably keep on saying it for years to come, but I love Cold War zombies. This game never fails to just make me happy, and honestly, it's the perfect ending every time I do one of these challenges because it just removes all of the pain from prior runs. And for this final run, I chose to do this on Mauer de Toten for the CBRS, otherwise known as the Cerberus. I don't think the Cerberus is the best wonder weapon on this game. I actually think it's probably second worst behind the Shockwave, but it is by far the most enjoyable to use, so here we are. I spawned in with my M16 and got to work. Round 5 and the power was turned on, and now I could start working towards getting my free Cerberus. The satellite dish and the hands were both acquired on round 6, with the battery being collected from Kranzi on round 10. We got our boy Klaus up and running, and now all I need is the UV light, which I got pretty much straight after getting Klaus working, and some numbers, which were found pretty soon after that. And at the end of round 11, the Cerberus was mine. There was also one other wonder weapon available on the map, being the ray gun, which I did try my hardest to get, as it's actually very good in this game, and I have PhD so I won't blow myself up, but the box just said no the entire game, which is wonderful for me. Beginning of round 13, I got the Cerberus its first Pack-a-Punch of the game, and it just ran through everything from this point. I mean, it was already destroying zombies for fun before Pack-a-Punch, but it was now just kind of taking the piss, and it continued to do this for the vast majority of the game. The 20s came and went in a breeze. Honestly, the first 30 rounds was a cakewalk for this gun. Even though the map becomes pure chaos from round 25 onwards due to all of the special enemies that spawn, the Cerberus just didn't care. Everything was getting melted left, right, and center, and I was having a blast. Also, the swarm upgrade, best upgrade. You heard it here first. It wasn't until I started reaching health cap that I began to notice the gun's weakness, which honestly speaks a lot about this thing. The Cerberus fires from two different sources, one being the gun and the other being the orb that circles the gun. Yes, the upgrades nullify that feature, but at these higher rounds they just don't cut it for me personally, so I was more focused on using the regular version of the gun. But with that, it just makes hitting headshots a pain in the ass, which annoyingly means 90% of the time I was missing out on the extra deadshot damage boost. But the Cerberus kept clawing its way through each round, and eventually I made it to round 48. All I needed to do was beat this round and we'd have a new highest, and it was a tormentor round, so I just walked straight through it. Round 49 and the new highest. I mean, we all knew Cold War would be the highest round, but it felt good having two higher round runs for once. The Cerberus didn't stop at round 49, and instead carried me into round 52, where I was then abused by a Kranzi soldat. Right at the start of the round, I could hear the siren of a panzer. What I wasn't expecting was for him to spawn directly on my head, trap me, and then down me. I managed to somehow get an elemental pop round to revive me, but the second I was up, I was heading right back down, as Kranzi jumps from halfway across the map instantly after I get up and just put me in the ground. And you can visibly see the fear in my gameplay when I realize what's happening, and it's all just over, which is great for me. Round 52 of the Cerberus takes the crown for this one, with a valiant effort from the Paralyzer and the Ray Gun Mark II from Buried. Thank you very much for watching, enjoy the rest of your day, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.